Welcome to your magic moon message, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Peace Dealer. And the moon is in Aquarius. The sun is in Sagittarius. Closing off the week, or really closing out the year with this Sagittarius season. And as of present, we are in between 60 to 90 degrees of activation. Aquarius, which with the moon is activating an understanding of knowledge, amongst other things which we'll talk about. One thing that's very important that I think this transit will remind you is there's seeing you from the outside looking in, right? And there's looking at you from the outside looking in, and then there's knowing yourself from within. Or there's actually knowing something, all right? And you don't want to necessarily conflate the two. A transit like this will restore everything that's always been true, that you've always known about yourself, but also establish once again how some to most or whoever may rely on limited perspective, hallucinations, literal illusion, bias, prejudice, narratives, what their parents taught them, what they experienced in their life, thinking it applies to you, all sorts of bullshit that people may pick up from the outside looking in, thinking that they know you or thinking that they know anything because insert reasoning. It's important not to take any of that personally, as we shouldn't attribute to malice what may really be just ignorance and stupidity. So allow people to continue to snitch on themselves. But in that same vein, given that this is a Gemini signature, you'll really gain a whole lot of knowledgeable understanding of who knows what relative to something as simple as how they speak to you, how through the language with which they're speaking to you, there's a clear sense of recognition for who and what you are. Okay? And regardless, other than that, this is definitely quite a significant transit. Every single moon transit this Sag season is super significant. We're still pretty much at this final level of breakthrough. So, I mean, it's to be expected. But yeah, concerning that, given that the moon has crossed over Pluto, this has reinitiated the 28-day lunar Pluto cycle that through activation every 28 days on Pluto with the moon, we can say, and we can call this a supernatural activation. So given that Taurus is going to represent physiological natural energy through your five senses, and Aquarius, which is going to represent the universal collective mind, we can look at as cosmic energy, aka supernatural energy. So if Taurus is natural energy, and then Scorpio is going to be like underground pure energy, and then Leo is going to be solar energy, we have the cosmic energy out of this world, in the universe, in space, Aquarius. But Taurus is natural, Aquarius is supernatural. Okay, we know the fixed signs are energy, is qualities of strength that apply the cardinal power, and then the fixed signs of manifest mutable perspective. All right, so every time the moon is on Pluto, we are activating a deeper or more extraordinary understanding of what more is awakening relative to where Aquarius is in your chart, and then as a sign, the humanitarian collective, the collective, all sorts of themes. So for the purpose of this magic moon message, we're going to designate this as a supernatural awakening. Okay, every 28 days. And of course, the hour hand relative to the sun transit will let us know where on the dial, where in this process over the next 20 years, as every 28 days over the next 20 years, or really until 2044, we will have these conjunctions in Aquarius, which will square in Taurus, oppose in Leo, and then the moon will be in Scorpio, and then we'll do it again. Next moon in Aquarius. So because now the moon in Aquarius is making a 60 to 90 degree angle, I would say when it was like 4 degrees, it made the 60-degree angle to Sagittarius, or the sun in Sagittarius. This angle is the final stage of activation. First stage is going to be 0 to 30, the conjunction. Second stage is going to be 30 to 60, the Taurus signature. That was when the moon was in Capricorn and we were manifesting the potency of this perspective. And now this third stage, from 60 to 90 degrees, is this moon in Aquarius transit. Namely now allowing for the full activation 0 to 90 degrees to begin integrating when the moon goes into Pisces and we have the 90-degree square from moon to sun. This extraordinary supernatural understanding and energy we're activating is going to give you a knowledgeable understanding, kind of like programming and input, so that when the moon goes into Pisces, you are now producing the experience and perspective that this understanding of knowledge has activated and provided. It's like you're literally seeing something with the sun in Sag, and you're understanding the knowledge of what you're seeing. What is it I'm seeing? And as I know what I'm seeing, if I'm seeing a turtle for the first time and I'm coming to learn, remember, Gemini signatures are about learning. So I'm learning about this turtle I'm seeing for the first time. Then when it comes time for me to imagine, this turtle, right? Now that I've come into an initial sense of knowledge, I'm going to integrate my beliefs around this. Oh, wait a minute. Okay. I'm going to integrate my beliefs around this with now applying this understanding of knowledge in order to shift my perspective around how I can begin to believe or imagine what it is I just saw. Okay? So before we start to get more magical, and before we start to kind of dive, beyond, because we're about to really go further beyond out of this world from Aqua to Pisces. This activation, this 60 to 90 degree moon in Aquarius activation, is now in conjunction with Pluto, right? 60 degrees of abilities, learning, skills, Gemini signature. Okay? Putting all that together, this is what makes this this is what makes this an activation, or activating the supernatural awakening. Or let me say it like this. This is what makes you awaken supernatural abilities. So we're activating the awakening of supernatural abilities. I'm going to say that one more time. We are activating moon 60 to 90 degrees from the sun and awakening moon conjunct Pluto in Aquarius, right, of supernatural abilities. Supernatural with the quality of Aquarius being third house from Sag abilities. Okay? And it's cool because you're coming into an extraordinary, knowledgeable understanding of what these abilities are. You're seeing it and you're knowing it. You're understanding what you are coming to know. And an Aquarian insight is not inductive. It's not deductive. It's not analytical. It's lightning quick and you can mistake it for psychic ability, when it could really represent ultra fast processing speed. But really, aqua insight is inner knowing. There's a clear cognizance to this that will really put into a higher context the meaning of experiences you're seeing. Okay? And that's where, if you remember, life as we experience it is mainly just one interpretive art. If you ask Ye, it's a fashion trend he regrets participating in. Real shit, I don't blame him there. But that being said, this is definitely going to, inactivating this, prepare not for these seeds to break through the ground, but to alter and shift your perspective entirely. We know that with the moon in Aquarius, at the end of this transit, it is going to square Uranus at the end of Taurus. And now, relative to the opposition that we had during the new moon in Scorpio, it has been breaking through lunarly. The sun is going lunarly. I like that. The sun is going to continue along this breakthrough passage from new moon in Scorpio to the very end of Aquarius season. But the moon is giving you a sneak peek of what that's going to feel like now in Sag, again in Capricorn, and then finally in Aquarius, especially during that Aquarius new moon. So the moon that was a part of this new moon, in now making the 270-degree angle to Uranus at the end of Taurus, this is going to complete this understanding of breakthrough in a lunar sense. And it's going to put you in a position to further innovate how unconventionally you can feel around not only your sense of self-esteem and self-value, but now you're coming into a more complete, knowledgeable understanding around not only what you are completely innovating, but connected to the Sag season, seeing into the higher meaning of how this is getting ready to change your vision. Okay, remember, we're still activating this Sag cycle, or this new moon Scorpio spilling into Sag. So this mastery and transformation of consciousness we've activated is now, of course, applying itself relative to the higher meaning of how your vision is adjusting. And as we've planted those seeds, when the moon goes into Pisces, we're going to break those seeds from out the ground. And the moon in Pisces is going to apply this Sag moon, Cap moon, Aqua moon, and begin to adjust your beliefs so that they can align with what you've activated. So really look forward to this in the most simplistic way that may sound convoluted and most definitely sci-fi. You are not only awakening supernatural abilities, which isn't the only time you've done this year, but now at the highest level, you're coming into a visual and adjusting your perception on what that is and what it looks like, and most importantly, what that means for you. Okay? As soon as we start integrating this at the 90-degree mark, we'll start practicing it, and through repetition, breaking this through the full moon in Gemini. But other than that, with Mercury and with Venus still in Scorpio, the square to the Aqua moon is going to challenge relative to this deep wisdom and this psychoanalytical probing deeper into your dealings with others and your boundaries. This is going to really provide a more knowledgeable understanding, whether through detachment or just higher knowledge, of how deeper to make sense of this, how more to make sense of this, and what kind of knowledge supports these transformations in your character. Other than that, I just wanted to talk more about the significance of this activation, especially with Pluto. Comment down below what you're excited to activate, and I'll catch you guys on the next Magic Moon message. You heard? You guys stay blessed as always.